Raid Shadow Legends' new Forge Pass is here. This time we've got Instinct gear, and the question I want to answer today is it worth getting the Gold Pass to get all of the extra rewards? Now, the Forge Pass works just like any other sort of battle pass in games. You have a free reward track and a paid reward track. So I want to go through what it actually offers, talk about the value it provides, and then compare it to some other deals in the shop to sort of figure out, is it worth getting the Forge Pass? Now, before we answer this question, just a quick heads up, you may want to use my link in the description or the QR code up there on screen to get a really good start in Raid Shadow Legends. You can get 4 epic champions as you level up, and if you use 2 different promo codes, you could either get Supreme Garlic or Sun Wukong. And after day 7 of logging in, you'll get Alice the Wanderer. This is an amazing start that you may have missed out on in the past, so consider using that sign up link if you want a fresh start right now in Raid Shadow Legends. You're going to see a lot of comments online telling you right now it's not worth it because it has Instinct gear. Instinct gear is probably one of the worst gears available in Forge Passes. Now, it's certainly not as good as other Forge Pass gear sets, okay? I'm going to just straight up say it, right? Instinct isn't as good. Having Bolster or Righteous or Slayer as the gear set in the Forge Pass is probably a better use of your money, but I must say that the overall Forge Pass still has a lot to offer it for it, even though Instinct is the final reward. So, you know, like I've got all this Bolster gear that I got from the last Forge Pass, that is pretty great. This is a good set. Protected 30% HP ally shield for 3 turns, heals by 10% every turn. A very strong set, especially in arena. Now, if we go to this, speed plus 12%, ignores 20% of enemy defense. So this is sort of like providing the bonus of a couple sets, but the value isn't as high. And I think that's why it's not as good. Late game, you're going to want to kind of focus specifically on damage or speed, not necessarily doing both with a 4 set. You need 4 items in this set to activate the bonus. So having even like, I don't know, Savage gear and then a bit of speed gear may make more sense than this. So I don't think the gear set itself is the best thing to go for, but I think there's more to talk about here, especially if you're a newer to mid-game player. Getting your hands on this much gear and artifacts and overall resources is quite difficult in the early game. Now, one of the major things I want to point out with this shop is if you want to be a spender, right, you've got a limited number of items you can actually get your hands on, right? You come to the store, you're going to get shards, gems, and energy, sometimes some other rewards. You can get XP brews and arena keys, but what you'll notice as you go through here is you don't necessarily have a large selection of options for good gear. Now, you'll sometimes see pop-ups that come up that will have some gear sets, but I'll be honest, those aren't the best deals. It's probably the worst way to spend your money from what I've seen on the gear sets that pop up. So the actual Forge Pass itself has quite a nice selection of stuff and resources for what I personally believe to be really useful for the mid-game player. Of course, you are going to get a lot of Instinct Stones, which can be used to craft in the Forge, you know, the Instinct gear, which is a bit of a miss. But the good thing about this is you're also going to be getting Magisteel, which is needed to craft pretty much anything in the Forge. And if you're a mid to or early to mid-game player, you're going to be lacking on these resources. You'll also get rank charms and glyphs, so you can upgrade any of your existing gear. And as you level up, you're going to get XP boost, you're going to get chaos ores, you're going to get all of this stuff that is a little bit harder to get your hands on. You even get some amulets and banners and stuff as you go through as well, legendary chaos ores, and you'll start to see that the pass becomes quite versatile. So even if the end gear, which is Instinct, isn't great, it's not as important because you're getting your hands on some decent stuff that's going to get you the resources you need across the board to sort out your gear problems, which I think a lot of players do struggle with early game, is just having decent gear. I know I did. I messed up my gear. I upgraded the wrong things, I sold the wrong things, and it really, really screwed me over. Now, there's one thing to consider before you go ahead and get this thing, is that there is one item, or one sort of pass, that is worth more in terms of your spending than anything else in the game, and it has to be the daily gem pack. As you can see, very, very, very cheap compared to everything else going on here, but you will get a total of 2,000 gems. Now, when you compare it to the gem shop itself, or if we go to the bank, sorry, let's look at this, right? 2,000 gems here is a lot more. It's what, 5 times the price than getting this, right? So this daily gem pack is a really good deal. So if you do want to consider spending, this is probably the first thing I would suggest any player start with, right? Pretty good. And then the Forge Pass is second. And I definitely really do think, regardless of what the end set is, I still think it's a second must purchase, especially if you're in the mid game. Right? And one suggestion I would probably make if you do go ahead and purchase this, don't craft your instinct gear yet. Hold on to the Magi still, because firstly, it's going to be useful in a lot of tournaments and events, but also in clan versus clan, it's a really, really effective way to boost out as much as you can in terms of your gear, your clan points, to make the best progress on clan versus clan. So don't spend it. Don't go and craft immediately. Wait to craft your artifacts until it's clan versus clan. It's really worth doing. And then just hold on to all this stuff. You're going to get a lot of silver. You're going to get some decent artifacts. It might roll into something good. And if they don't, you can sell it to build up more silver as well. So I do think this is a really, really worthwhile purchase, in my opinion. There's one other thing that's going on you may be seeing at the moment, is you'll get sort of like a progression thing. I think it's, I don't know the exact levels, but you'll get sacred shards for a pretty decent price. So I think that's definitely worth considering as well. But yeah, it's quite exciting to get ahead of the Forge Pass. Now I guess one more question we can look at, is it worth getting the plus 25 levels? Now, I think Raid is a game that you want to be logging in every day. You're doing your dailies, you're getting a bit of progress each and every day. So if you're not logging in and making progress on the Forge Pass as you play anyway, then you're not really playing Raid as much as you could be, right? And I think that it just feels like a bit of a waste to go for the plus 25 levels, because if you're engaging in the content that Raid is designed for, then you're going to be on the game pretty much every day, just for a bit of time here and there, just so that you can progress your account anyway. So, like, look, if you get this gold pass here, and you don't get the plus 25 levels, you got basically an extra 20 to spend on what? Like, you could go and get the daily gem pack if you haven't, or you could even consider getting the beginner progress instead, which is a lot more value when you consider it, right? So yeah, I don't think it's worth boosting the plus 25 levels, but overall I will say the actual gold pass itself, definitely a worthwhile investment. Now, if you're a late game player, you're probably already sitting on a bunch of Magi Steel, and you need specific gear sets. In that case, then it comes down to a question of, do I need these mythical chaos ores? Do I need these legendary chaos ores? Do I need these legendary amulets and banners, you know, which are 6-star? Like, grinding out like crazy to get a set of legendary banners and you know, amulets and stuff can take quite a lot of time. Like, sometimes you get unlucky, so in that case it might be worth it, but it's going to definitely be down to you balancing the pros and cons. Is it worth it? Is it not? It's going to be down to your personal situation if you're a sort of late game player, my personal opinion. But for a early to mid game player, I can't see why this wouldn't be worth grabbing, honestly. I think it's a lot better value than a lot of the other stuff going on. So those are my thoughts on the Forge Pass in Raid Shadow Legends. It'll be available for the next like 4 weeks, and then usually there's like I think like a 2-3 week period where there isn't any Forge Pass in the game. And then after that, we'll be getting another Forge Pass with a different set that's the theme and the end reward. I don't know what it will be next. We don't really know. It could be Slayer. It could be Righteous. We just had Bolster, so I don't think we'll get another Forge Bolster set. But if we can get a Slayer set, in what it's going to probably end up being like 7 weeks from now, then that could be a good Forge Pass to invest in as well. Yeah, if you want the pure resources here, there's a lot to grab. So those are my thoughts on it. Let me know. And once again, make sure to check out Raid Shadow Legends with the link in the description or the QR code to get a really great start on your journey in Raid Shadow Legends. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the comments. Cheerio.